Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Lights Out League Racing, Season 30, Race 9, the penultimate race of what's been a fantastic season. First one of 2026, and penultimate one before the game update in June. And I'm sure next couple of races are going to be fantastic. And we are in those that can know their pit lanes. You can see we're dodging the missiles. We're in the Middle East and at Qatar, which is normally a quite straightforward race, but we've added a little bit of an alternate thought of strategy for the final special race of the season, and it's a no hards allowed during the race. I repeat, no hards allowed during the race, which adds an extra pit stop at least. And tyre wear is always a big issue at this circuit. So it does play down to people's strategy, which we found with the mandatory tyre races adds a little bit more excitement onto those tracks that aren't always the most exciting. Good evening, D Singh. Unfortunately, Terry's not with us this week. He's scranning some dinner, and I've just had some absolute banging dinner, and followed by the most satisfying poo, pre-race poo. And if anyone's shopping bags have split and their apples have dropped all over the floor, that's exactly what it felt like. But what it will feel like is we're on top with Mr. Brutus Beer as he does his flying lap. First one in this week's qualifying. Good evening, D Singh. How are you, my friend? Round turn 2, where you want to get a good consistent rotation round. The left-hander, fast flying corners to turns 4 and 5, where it's very easy to invalidate coming out of 4, but keep it within the white lines. And the hardest, or the slowest corner on the track, turn 6, where it's almost a hairpin, where it's easy to lose traction round. Turn 7, where we've seen 1 or 2 overtakes happening, but it is a difficult place to overtake. Flat out through turn 9, where you can cut the apex a lot more than Brutus did. Turn 10 feels like it goes on forever as we go around. Now it's becoming the famous flying right-handers, where you go flat out through the triple 12, 13, 14, 15. Another flat out corner, left-hander as we approach the final corner of the circuit, where you want to maximise the exit, so compromise your entry as you go down the start-finish straight, cross the line. 1:21.8 for Bruce's first lap, which I think will be beaten. I think we're going to be seeing maybe a 1:20s from some of the quicker drivers. Validation from Michael, so he's not going to be setting a lap. Academy's doing a lap out on the Inters, which is quite interesting. Martin Silver's invalidated on his flying lap, so he's not going to improve at all. But as I said, it's a no hard, so saving himself a set of softs for qualifying. I have sent you an invite, Hot Stepper, but I can send you another one if you come online. There's still plenty of time in qualifying, so let me know when you're ready. Wesker for his first flying lap goes a 1:22 flat, so only just over a tenth behind Brutus, so good time from the Williams driver. Armady, one of the favourites to get pole, with Callum missing, our Division 1 champion for season 30, 1:21 flat. So good starting time from him, as we see Benja, who's going on another lap, so I think he's invalidated. Jack Daniels invalidated, so track limits proving to be quite difficult at this first stage of qualifying, and I believe is extra points for no track limits. As Brutus into the pits, Jump on Labrat Dan, who's managed to keep it within the white lines. And we'll get a time on the board. It goes front row for now, the 21.823 ahead of Brutus. So fan quality time there. Katami's into the pits. So just doing a lap out on the inters. Maybe to sort his setup out. I don't know. Quite interesting as Martin Silver's invalidated. Oh, it's very, very tricky. Dan Morris in the Ferrari. Reserving for us this week. Div 2 driver, so he'll be using this as a practice session. It's caps lock in the Alpine. Has had some very good performances over the last few weeks. Got himself P1 a couple of races ago and joins D on the front row, the 21.3. Now that's a good time when you consider Ahmed D's a really quick driver. He's only 3/10 behind. Benja not getting another lap again. Ahmadi doing another lap, so using a set of soft tyres twice, and again saving himself a set, I presume, for the race. Labrat's not improving, so we'll jump on with Adams on jump with Martin Silver, who's set the fastest middle sector. Oh, he looked like he was gone off track there, and the game's been nice. He's been sucking off the owners of Qatar, and he's gone around the final corner, across the line, sits behind his teammate 21.7. So really good time from caps lock then. Dan Morris invalidated, so he's struggling to get time on the board. Ichi Porres reserving for Callum. You've got big shoes to fill, my friend. So keep an eye on Benja. And we're going to have Hot Stepper joining us as well to make it 17 drives on the grid, and it's a great turnout for this late stage of the season. I'll jump back on Amity, see if he's going to improve. He's slightly up on his time, but he's jumped straight into the pits. Jack Daniels, another favourite, got himself pole. Back in Austria reverse. Not Austria reverse? Yeah, Austria reverse. And one to definitely keep an eye on. Also Benedict here. Now Benedict's leading the way in the Elite Championship. I'll be looking to get himself into the Hall of Fame. But he's gonna. I don't think he can get it claimed this week. Depending on the results around him. And the driver's yet to set a time. Oh, what's happened to Adam? I think Adam's crashed out. Adam's crashed out and is retired. Oh no. That's not great from Adam. He's going to end up finding himself at the back of the grid because he hasn't set a time. Oh no. Oh no. Keep an eye on Jax as he goes around the final corner then. Oh no, Ichi Porres setting a time. 27.2 on those enters as Jax Daniels goes behind caps lock to the 21.4. So again, I reiterate, what a great time for as Brutus gets up to P4, 21.6, so does improve on his time as Benedict slots behind him with a 21.6. At the moment, caps lock on pole for Elite. Michael up to P4 joins Jax on the front row with 21.5. It's getting tight at the top. Let's keep an eye on Katamis, who had brilliant qualifying last week. Probably P3, I believe. And with his best performance of the season. I think potentially Martin Silver has impeded Adam and made him crash out. Katamis has invalidated, so he's not going to improve here. We've got on a lap. Everyone's coming out on an out lap. Porres won't be improving. Let's keep an eye on Wesker and see his time then as he comes through sector 3. Round turn 15. And does not, improves by half a second up to P5. As we keep an eye on his teammate then, who's eyeing that pole. But it's only gone 28.7, so I believe that he maybe was compromised during his lap. Hot Stepper starting his first lap and Katami's invalidated this one. Let's keep an eye on Benja. So he flies on the triple right-hander. Flat out through 15. It's a racer's track, this one. Absolutely love it. Almost compromises lap on the final corner, but will cross the line. And the Div 2 driver, reserving for AJ, goes P10 with the 21.8, and similar to one or two other drivers. Loads of drivers invalidating their lap. Wesker's down as well, so no one's really on a hot lap. We're 6 minutes left. And we'll keep an eye on Dan and Keyser then. Both Div 2 drivers reserving for us. Keyser for Gary. And Dan for Eisner. Both just dialing in their setups, maybe trialling one or two things. Trialling some strategies for the main race. Oh, lost of traction from Keyser on his exit out of 15. Gets a little slipstream off the car ahead. Across the line goes P11. I think he'll be reasonably happy with that. We'll keep on Dan then. Someone that's improved over the course of the season. Oh, goes wide. Oh, he's lucky not to get invalidated there. And he does. A couple of corners to go. As we'll keep an eye on Hot Stepper. Fastest first sector from the reserve Visa Carb. Reserving for Cats. No meow meow motherfucker this week. Yeah, so it seems that Martin Silva has compromised Adamako's qualifying and would potentially lead to a quali ban next time. Fastest middle sector as well, free from the reserve driver. He's putting himself in a good shape for being near the spearhead of the grid. He's got 2 corners to go. Oh, that's gone deep and he's invalidated, pushing hard. And he might as well be pregnant and giving birth. He pushed that hard, baby crowned. And he's had to go into the pits. One or two drivers now coming out for their final run. Katamis and Benedict will be the first ones. Dan Morris is not on another lap. He's going to have to quick dive in the pits and back out again, or settle from starting near the rear end. At the moment, there's still 3 drivers yet to set a lap. Adamako needs his teammate to get big position. Trying to get some big points for the Haas team. As it goes around turn 2. Katamis, of course, our Div 2 champion for season 29. And professional champion. Found it quite hard on the step up to Div 1. But he's put in a really good effort this season. I think another one, he's kind of progressed driving with quicker drivers. It's just increased his pace slightly. At the moment, he's got the fastest first sector around the slowest corner of the circuit, turn 10. And yeah, my favourite part of the circuit is this 12, 13, 14. Not quite one of the famous corners on the calendar. You know, things like Maggots and Beckett's and Eau Rouge and things like that, well-known ones. But I think the more this track gets used on the calendar, the more it becomes a fashionable corner. And only P11 for Katamise, 21.9. So he may have another run in his bank. At the moment, not that great. Benedict, 4 tenths up, almost 5, which will get him to low 21s. Potentially front row if he keeps on at this pace. He needs to keep this consistent. Around the triple right-hander. Red Bull driver in fine form after his step up. Can it be double? Oh, almost goes wide. Has to rein his rear end in. Using all the apex of the final corner. And that's Westcliff done. Front row for both Red Bulls and 21.1 for now. And brilliant lap. 21.1 for Benedict. It'll be interesting to see how everyone else does. Can they just pip him to that front row? There'll be eyes on the likes of Portuguese. And Martin and Brutus. Michael. Jackson Capslock. It's going to be a close one. Gillette, the best a man could get. Close shave. Stepper. He needs to nail this lap. It's his final chance. He won't want to be starting from the rear. Very difficult to overtake at certain parts of this track. You've got to be quite aggressive to make a move. Katamise is done as well, so both Haas drivers calling it Daichi Porres will highest for start P13. But if the likes of Hotstepper and Dan can set a time, in Portuguese, Itchy Porres will find himself near the rear end. He's made it. Crosses the line. Where will Hotstepper start? P13 then behind Kieser. Benedict will start highest P2. Can his teammate extend his time and get himself into the 120s? Which will be an incredible time. He does 20.7. Wow. What a lap from Amadi. As Brutus will cross the line and go P5, currently ahead of his compatriot. Next is Jax Daniels. He will start his front row for Jax Daniels, 129. Brilliant lap from the Aston Martin. I did not expect him to pull that one out of the bag. But it shows you what sweating can do. And he sweats buckets. Dan Morris, first time in the Borg, is up to P8 ahead of Martin. He'll be happy with that. Capsock will start P4 highest. With Martin starting behind him with a 21.2. Michael goes ahead of Brutus. Now that's a story. There's a car completely off the track there. And it's Portuguese facing the wrong way on the final corner. Wow. And that's your lineup. And there's some big surprises with Portuguese not setting a time. He's disqualified as well by smashing his car off on the final corner. Will end up behind Adam. And Adam being knocked out of quali. But the big story is Amadi takes pole by just over 2 tenths to Jax Daniels, who joined him on the front row. Benedict gets pole for the elite. Terry saying Portuguese doing last to first. Potentially. As as we wait for Hot Stepper to get his car in the pits and get a once over. I'll tell you what, who else is getting a once over? Terry Reds. That's why he's not commentating. Lucky bastard. Neck lube. And here's your grid for Qatar with Amadi on pole with a 20.7. Jax Daniels joins him on the front row, just 2 tenths behind. Benedict and Capslock, championship rivals, side by side on row 2 with Martin and Michael behind them. Brutus P7, Wesker P8, Dan Morris P9, and Keys around for the top 10. That'll be a good battle. Labrat 11th, Benja 12th with Katamise and Hot Stepper on row 7. Itchy Porres doing an only lap on the Inters, so saving plenty of softs for the race, with Adamako not able to set a time. And Portuguese disqualifying on the final run, trying to do a potentially last to first. Well, it's going to be a big feat with Amadi on pole, but it'll be a good watch. Hot Stepper reckons he must have had a mid-20s. That would have been something to see. But unfortunately, you've seen the red. You've grabbed the bull by the horns. And you're disqualified. Now, as I mentioned, this race is a special race. No hard tyres allowed in the race, which adds to a little extra thought on strategy. You, of course, will probably have to pit twice because doing a soft to medium will not work. Tyre wear is at its most at this track. So it's going to be very, very, very interesting to see how the drivers navigate this. Be interested to see who starts on what. And a little extra reward, let's call it. And we saw many drivers invalidating their quali laps. Those that do not get any track limit penalties will get bonus 3 points towards their standards. It could play a big, big part. As I mentioned, Callum, who's not with us this week, is the back-to-back Div 1 and Platinum champion, but it's all to play for. Still in the elite, with Benedict leading the way on 153 points, with a gap of 27 points to Capslock and 47 to Michael. So the likes of Capslock and Michael need to finish ahead of Benedict, or it could be Benedict's championship, and a well-deserved one. McLaren lead the way, but with both Higosh and Callum missing, Red Bull and Williams are chasing down with both drivers on the grid. Red Bull 28 points behind and 95 points behind on Williams, so still all to play for. And the overall Constructors' Visa car lead the way, with Brutus leading the charge. There's only a 45 gap to the McLarens and 87 to the Alpines. Alpines could score big this week and try and close that gap. Those that are watching, who do you reckon will be on the podium this week? I'm going to go for Amadi for the win. The Flying Scotsman getting some big points towards the Constructors. I'm going to go Jax Daniels P2, and I'm going to go Brutus P3 as we have a look at seven strategy. So most drivers starting on the softs, then maybe trying to get that one out of the way. Terry's reckon it's D Jackson Portuguese. We shall see. Shall see on the seashore. Most drivers starting on the softs. A few starting on the mediums then. Benedict, Wesker Kiza, Katamise and Adam and Portuguese at the back. Both all trying to do a longer stint. Martin Silver's car. Not there. I'll see if I can invite him. It looked like he disconnected, but I'll get him back in. Who is that? Who is that? I reckon that's him, but... Sorry, who let a computer? I didn't know someone had binary. If it's Martin Silver, he's non-binary. What are you? We're, of course, then at the Losail circuit in the Middle East. First GP was held in 2021. On the calendar officially in 2023. It was actually designed as a motorbike racing circuit in mind, so that's why it's got really fast sweeping corners. And it's got a 10-year contract currently, and I'm sure it'll get extended because it's where the money is. Armady lead us round as we approach the final corner. We'll start on pole. Jack Daniels alongside him with Benedict. Red Bull's looking strong. Also, the Alpines, both constructors looking on the charge for a championship. Michael, P6 with Bruce Compatriot alongside him. P7, Wesker, P8, looking to score big for the Williams team. Morris, P9, with Keys alongside him. Div 2, Battle, Labrat, P11 with Benja just behind. Another Div 2 driver looking to test out their strategy. Katame's 13th, Hot Stepper 14th, Ditch Porres 15th, 16th for Adamaco. And Portuguese starting from the rear. Armady. He's got a 374 metre run down from pole to turn one breaking point. Here's a medium-sized distance to defend. Jack Daniels will have the inside line. Can he jump Armady to take the lead of the race? We shall see. Where's the lights? It's there they are. It's 5 lights. It's lights out and away we go. And we'll stay on with Benedict, see how he gets on. Martin Silver all the way to the back. Wow, wow, wow. Capslock already ahead of Benedict. It's a great start from the Alpine. Armady's managed to defend. As we see Labrat already gaining some places on the outside of Katame's. Oh no, Keys has got a penalty off Adamaco. Colliding near the back, the same with Dan Morris. I assume those two drivers have collided. There's carbon fibre everywhere. I've got bits in my mouth. Gears of War reference, those that played Xbox. As we see Benja going wide round turn 6. Void in contact, and at the moment stuck behind Itchy Porres. So big moves from Portuguese already up to P11 as we approach turn 10. Now, I expect to see better driving this week. Not necessarily Div 1 drivers, but Div 2 was an absolute shit show at Austriaverse last week. I've got carbon fibre in my mouth. Hello, Matt. How you doing, my friend? Josh reckons D, Jackson, Benedict on the podium. At the moment, it's D, Jackson, caps lock. He's got it on capitals. Forever capitals as Portuguese gets past Hot Stepper around the final corner. Up to the top 10 now for the Williams. Adamaco ahead of Keyser as well. As Keyser's found himself at the rear end of the grid. DRS is now active. The only place that is effective is a start, finish straight. Jack Daniels and Capslock having a brilliant wheel-to-wheel battle through the first sector. Oh, bump up the rear end for Jackson Benedict. You're welcome. And then Capslock has got ahead of the Aston Martin up to P2 then. The guy that always wears his racing helmet. And not because he is one. Portuguese past Katame's. Made easy meat of that cat. Put him on a stick and put him over an open fire. There's some good early moves happening on the grid. And when will we see this the soft runners pit and get off these tyres? I predict it'll be a soft mediums strategy. Oh, as we see a carb of Hot Stepper go wide, and they'll be picking up a warning there, I'm sure. Armady extends his lead at the front. 2 seconds now with him and Capslock as Jack Daniels has DRS and gets himself back up to P2. These two will hope to try and work together to try and catch up with Amadi as we see hot stepper past Katamis. He's sitting duck there as we see Itchy Porres on the inside of the Haas as well. There's nothing you can do to defend that. And Katamis losing 2 positions down to P12. But was doing the longest stint. Those on the softs trying to maximise the... I don't know what's happened to Martin Silva. He's completely gone. Oh, maybe he's been hit by a missile. Benja just misjudging his braking point with Katamis ahead. A little loss of traction as well for the Sauber reserve. Had a fine race and where was it 2 weeks ago? Where was it 2 weeks ago? Was it Spa? Got himself a pole position, and there's a track limits pen for Kiza. Got himself his first pole a couple of weeks ago, Benja. And he's just that slight shy of getting himself consistently near the podium positions. Just needs an extra few tenths per lap. Portuguese currently behind his teammate as we see Benja and Katamis struggling to keep the cars behind him, which, considering he's got an ass like a fridge, it's quite surprising. Portuguese past his teammate Itchy Porres, past Hot Stepper, and Katamis losing out. Kizgi's retiring in the pits and saving himself for the main race, which is following us. We have 2 race following us at 9 PM UK. So please stay tuned. Katamis letting Adamako through, team play. You love to see it. So still just cementing that kind of 2-second gap here. Which staying ahead of Capstock and Benedict. It looks like a 3-car battle here for P2 as it stands, but it can all change. You never know what can happen. Some misjudged braking point, safety car, which there is a 67% chance of both safety car and VSC. And it can be a positive effect for 1 or 2 drives, which we've seen with those remember Callum a couple of times, I think, in Hungary. And Spa as well, I think. As Capstock retaking P2. Benedict taking a look at Jax, but not quite close enough to make a move as yet. Dan Morris in the pits then. First one to make a pit stop and get rid of the soft tyres, which promotes the Haas boys up then. Adamako looking to close the gap on the car ahead is Portuguese past Labrat. Coming round turn 2. So he had better traction coming out of the second corner. And are these soft tyres already wearing thin? Quite a few drivers, I assume, used all sets of their soft tyres. So they're not going to have much life in them. And the ones on the mediums, well, so much better rubber at this stage of the race. Portuguese in this train behind Brutus, 4P5. And he'll need to try and get past as quick as he can to try and hunt down Amadi, who at the moment is having a quite relaxed race as it stands. Oh, there's some... I forgot there's some football going on. What's going on? What's going on here? I'll double check the scores. I know you all want it. There's Portuguese making a double overtake past Michael and Brutus. Michael ahead of Brutus as well. As we see Benja hot stepping past Hot Stepper. And up to P11, the Sauber. Caps Lock still staying ahead of Jax Daniels. Arsenal already ahead of Brighton, then 1-0 Man City ahead against Forest, and it's 1-1 with Villa Chelsea. I forgot they were playing. Let's have a look. Saka Semenyo. Well, what a signing he was. João Pedro and Douglas Luiz, both on the score sheet. Nothing yet. In the other game, in the United game, just about to kick off. Who are the lads? They got two Mapman and Zombie. Hope you lose. As Adam and Katami's slightly drift off. Hot stepper. Hello, Kiza. Portuguese with the fastest lap then, just showing his pace. His Labrat's in the pits then. Getting off these soft tyres. Jack Daniels right in the gearbox of Caps Lock. As Brutus exchanging places with Michael. These pair have been on track with each other for most of the season. An incredible international battle. International? Not international, but international. I don't know what the words are. Could be right, could be wrong. Katami's jumping past his teammate. Katami's with potentially a little bit more pace at this stage. 7 laps out of 29. And maybe just found his time. Adamaki just dropping off now. Already almost 2 seconds. Has he got... Doesn't like his... Oh, he's got lost an end plate. So he's got some damage here with the Haas. I wouldn't be surprised if he pits very soon. Through this quick, fast-flowing corners. Having a slight wing damage will not help at all. Both Ferraris have pit. Both onto the mediums. 3 seconds ahead. Amadi carries on. This battle here for P2 is looking fierce. As Benedict ahead of Caps Lock. Caps Lock losing out on plenty of places. Gets jumped by Portuguese as well, and I think he's had a moment. I think he ran deep around turn 1. And that's opened the door for the Williams to get past and compromised his battle for the podium, but he's not far off at all. As we see a cluster of cars, including Brutus, Michael, Adam and Hot Stepper, all getting some fresh tyres on. As expected. The Man United team is the same, apart from Mazraoui starting for Delo. Very good. Very, very good. Catslock just needs to get himself within that DRS range. As his tyres just wearing off now, he's on a different strategy to Benedict and Portuguese. So I'll be surprised. He'll probably pit this lap if he's losing time. It would make complete sense. Well, we see Amadi. Oh, Jack's going. Amadi does, and Jax does as well. So that does mean Benedict takes the lead of the race for potentially a few hundred metres. Portuguese in his slipstream, not able to make the move yet, as Capslock does go in and follows suit. So Benedict is in the lead of the race here in Qatar. Itchy Porez in. Benja the only one not to pit then. Of the soft runners from the start. It'll be interesting to see how long he goes on for them. Is he going to try and do one stop? Nah, it's impossible. Impossible. Be crazy. Impossible. So Labra, after the pit stops, has come out of P9. And ahead of Michael. Brutus has lost plenty of time after the pit stops. Now down to P14. Did he have to have a wing change? It would be the only explanation. Itchy Poor in the McLaren. Hot on the heels of Dan Morris, who pit lap 4 laps earlier. That's currently got better speed. His tyres are probably at a more comfortable temperature as Itchy Porus has just come out of the blankets. Let's jump back on the front too as we go down the start, finish straight. DRS for Portuguese should be able to make straightforward move. and take the lead of the race. Williams driver from the back. He loves it from the back. Is now at the front. Benja finally going in the pits and getting off these soft tyres. May lose a bit of time going that extra lap. 4 drivers left to pit. Portuguese, Benedict, Wesker and Katamies. Armady closing in on the Haas. He's got a good 3.5 second gap to Jack Daniels in the net P2 position. We've got 15 drivers left on the grid. Battles all up and down as Itchy Porres getting past Dan Morris then. Coming out of turn 3, brilliant overtake from the McLaren. Dan Morris will not be giving that up. We'll try and put pressure on Itchy Porres, both behind Benja, who's just pit as well for some fresh tyres. So he's just getting himself climatised with the new rubber. Armady all up in Katamies' grill on some fresh tyres. Wesker pitting. Oh, we got a yellow flag. It's a Ferrari. It's Dan Morris. He's hit the wall. Coming out of turn 10. And he's going to have to get himself a new wing as Jack Daniels sets the fastest time. Wesker in the pits as mentioned. Armady has got ahead of Katamies and up to P3. Interesting to see where Wesker comes out in contrast. As Benja and Itchy Porres go through. Terry Redslover, big fan of Dan and his wall hitting. Wesker come out then just ahead of Benja and Itchy Porres. And what would have been Dan Morris as well, who's in the pits. We'll have to get a fresh wing on. I wouldn't be surprised if he did call it a day. As Jack Daniels all up at the back of Katamies, potentially trying to do a switchback. It's a very difficult place to overtake. Pushing round turn 10. He's on the inside. Gives Katamies plenty of room. That's brilliant overtake from the Aston. I don't know. Maybe he can tie it with his toes. What? I think that's just hit the bar. I think Newcastle just hit the bar. Lewis all. Trallham's there for Wesker's. Benedict's in the pits then. Portuguese carrying on in that open air. Benedict will look to try and get out ahead of Wesker. Armady pushing, goes past his teammate. Jack Daniels who pit earlier but on a different strategy. Crucially, Benedict's come out behind Caps Lock, but he pit 3 laps earlier. Up again on different strategies, but it plays in the mind games. Brutus ahead of his teammate for today, up to P12. Caps Lock. No. Who is it? Who is it? He's enough overtake with Caps Lock there on fresher tyres coming out of turn 6. And up to P4 then. I think a pit stop's around 26 seconds or so. As Portuguese in the pits. Now this would be interesting where this rapid driver comes out. Armady coming around turn 15. It's me! Alright, I didn't know, auditioning for Wicked. Armady going down the start finish straight. Can Portuguese come out ahead of Jax? I don't think so. I think Jax has got him, keeps his P2. It's crucially where Caps Lock comes out and that battle behind. Portuguese will come out P4 then. And shows the rapid pace he's got, but he's got a battle of Benedict and Katamies behind. Benedict past the purring Haas. And up to P5. Benedict stuck behind Portuguese before the pit stop. Has remained there then. And Portuguese only a few seconds off the lead. Incredible drive from the Williams. And is in course here for a potential podium position. Chasing down the Alpine through the middle sector. And what I think will happen here is Portuguese will jump ahead of Caps Lock, and then Caps Lock will try to get pulled along, and Benedict pulled along to close the gap on Jacques Daniels. Portuguese needs to dispatch the Alpine as quick as possible to try and hunt down Amadi. We're not even halfway through yet. There's plenty of time to go for the Williams to claim another victory. Was missing last week, of course, but did claim victory back in Spa. Takes advantage of the slipstream and DRS, and up to P3 for the Williams. Michael getting past Katamis. P6 for the Mercedes. Had a brilliant season in the elite tier. Is still in for a shout for the championship, but needs to get ahead of the Red Bull of Benedict. And it's got 4 seconds to close the gap. 2.5 seconds for Jackson D. And I think D's made a mistake somewhere, because Jax has found some prime rhythm. He's gained a couple of tenths. And just slightly closing the gap, and maybe Amadi is doing a bit of tyre preservation, reserving some ERS for when Portuguese closes in. Dan Morris has called it a day, and we'll see him again, like I said, in the Div 2 race around 9 PM UK. Portuguese. Terry Red's lower. Oh, I bet he wants it lower, the little whore. And Benedict getting past Caps Lock, which is crucial in the Elite Championship. As Labrat past Katamis. Katamis, 14 laps on these medium tyres. It looks like Katamis is going to try and do a one-stop, you know. So he's going to be doing another potentially 5 laps or so on these mediums, which will be good telemetry data for the Div 2 drivers, but I really don't think it's the way to go. Oh no, Caps Lock's left the session. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, that's not what you want. That's not how you want a championship decided, because somebody's disconnected. Which means he'll just fall back away from Benedict. Oh. Get back in your car. D-Sing reckons Benji is Terry Red's lover. Mother of a lover. Mr. Rubber lover. Oh, that's not a penalty. Get back in your box. Bloody Geordie buggers. That's a penalty though, Alangi, you rat. Ahead. Portuguese taking that P2. And just 2 seconds behind the race leader. Netlube. Can Jack stay with Portuguese? Stay within that DRS and join that battle for the race win? Of course, got that win back in Saudi Arabia. Caps Lock's still not in his car. I've just sent you one, Caps Lock. I'll send you another one. I'm disappointed for him, because he was having a great race and great battle with Benedict, and now he's falling back in the clutches of Michael. Nobody wants that. Where's Michael? Well, it does deduce them down then, doesn't it, Terry's? Who could it be? Joe Linton, that's it. Rack up those fouls, my friend. Can be good as part of my ACCA. I'll tell you what's good though. Portuguese all over the back of the Red Bull now. Doing his last to first. And he's almost there. I bet you Amadi will not give this one up. Caps Lock struggling to join. Should join us like a umbilical cord. Oh, Italian hand gesture, Radamaco. Oh, you thought you could sneak that while I was inviting. Italian hand gesture. And I think he'll be gutted with that. As Michael goes ahead of Caps Lock's car. And that's a very, very unfortunate. I feel sorry for the lad. I think he's... oh no, I thought he's back in. Mugging me off. We've got this great battle here for P1. And while these battle, you've got the Aston Martin of Jax just waiting with intent. And he's going to struggle to stay with him with DRS. Portuguese with the DRS and the slipstream. Takes the inside of turn 1 and takes the lead of the race. Officially. And this will be a great battle between these two for the next 11 or 12 laps. And it's under 2 seconds behind Jax Daniels, so this podium is not out of grasp yet for the Red Bull. A double Red Bull podium. H.E. Perez, though, dispatching Katami's doing the one stop. Definitely not the way to go. And he's dropping down the order. And everyone else will be pitting again, so definitely not the strategy. So those that are watching, your 2 stop is the right call. Unfortunately, had not been his week at all. Compromised in qualifying. Had an instant where he's had to do a wing change. And then speed in the pit lane as well. Sometimes it's just not your week. And unfortunately, my friend, this is not one of them. But chin up. I think look at all your achievements for this season. Transferring over to the wheel. As Jax and Amadi both pitting then. Getting on some fresh mediums for the rest of the race. Portuguese and Bennett carrying on. So Amadi looking to do the undercut. Michael's in as well. I've got a friend request. I've got a friend. Someone likes me. Amadi coming out just behind Benja is not where he wanted to end up. As we've got a yellow flag. And the hot step has gone deep at turn 16. I think he's spun his car. And thankfully no safety car caused. It's dropped him down to P13. Unlucky for some. Which Perez and Brutus doing their final stops. Would promote Adamaco though. Up ahead of Hot Stepper then. Serving his penalty. For being a naughty boy. Portuguese 6 seconds ahead of Benedict. He's got 17 seconds on Caps Lock. He's still not back in his car. Ah, Caps Lock. That was an absolute spicy battle. And he's gone. God, everyone's sending me friend requests. What is it, my birthday? I want some cake then. Fuck your request off, I want some cake. I'm sure we'll be seeing the likes of Katami's pitting. Who's still yet to do so. Benja. Not fighting with Amadi too hard, as Jack Daniels should make a good overtake on Katamise. And goes up to P7. Looking to do the undercut on the likes of Benedict, who was only a couple of seconds behind. And will have better tyres come the end of the race. Is he looking to go on some... I'll add them, don't worry, Lennon. More friends make me seem popular. Amadi going past Wesker. Capslock's car running in P3, but should be an easy enough overtake as Amadi does go through, and Wesker through the ghost car. I think Wesker's still yet to pit. That's the same as Portuguese and Benedict. Or will they both, to be fair, will they both try and go to the end of the race, seeing that Katamise has made the one stop last? They could go to the end of the race here, and having a 19-second gap, Benedict could finish ahead of his teammate. To be fair, if I'm Benedict, I would hold out. And you're getting past Capslock. If I was Benedict, I would hold out and see what Portuguese does. Because if Portuguese pits, I'll just stay out for position. Because the worst thing you're going to do is lose a couple of positions. But I reckon you're in for a shout for a podium here. Wesker, Capslock and Katamise in. If why is Capslock's car put him on 8 laps? Oh, for God's sake. Katamise finally pitting. Yeah, if I was Benedict, I would be staying out to the end and see what Portuguese does. Interesting strategy call. As D Singh said, they both started on a medium, so they're both going to have to pit anyway. Good shout. Good shout. That's why we have the community we do. As Portuguese does pit, will Benedict follow him suit? He does, which will promote Amadi to the lead of the race. It looks like he's pushing hard to try and set a fastest lap while he can, because the other two will be jumping onto some soft tyres. Portuguese just coming out the end of the pit lane. It's going to be close. He doesn't set that fastest lap though, Amadi. And he comes out just ahead of Portuguese. It's exactly what he needed to do. Benja pitting as well. Benedict's come out just behind Jack Daniels, so this is going to be a smashing battle for that final podium position. Benedict on the fresh soft tyres, as Benja coming out in a mix of traffic here, maybe behind Itchy Porez and P9, but we'll have those fresh soft tyres. So you've got different strategies with different tyre compounds for this final stint. 8 laps to go, including this one. And at the moment, the soft runners are behind their medium runners. This is going to be a tasty couple of laps. Can the medium runners stay with them, as we see Adam letting Katamise go on those fresh soft tyres. Katamise down in P12, so his one stop has not worked. Amadi holding up Portuguese, which would slightly close the gap on the chasing couple, but with DRS here, Portuguese should make easy meat of the Scotsman and take the lead of the race once again. Now this will be an interesting watch with Jackson, Benedict flying and closing and closing and closing, and gets himself up onto the podium position here. Red Bull's on a big charge for the constructors and will gain big points this week, and will take it to the final race of the season. Benj on those new tyres with DRS up to P8. Good show here from the reserve driver, which you'll see him in the Div 2 race in about half an hour's time. I think he'll be well chuffed with this P8, and we'll look to try and hunt down Wesker ahead of him. Perhaps car will finish at the rear of the grid. Is he back in his car? He's not. Ah, man. There could have been a three-way battle there for P3 as well. Gutted. Armadi being dropped from Portuguese as Portuguese bangs in that fastest lap. And just shows the raw pace of the Portuguese. Armadi just not managing to hold off the William driver's charge. What we are having next season, Portuguese and Callum will both be starting anew, no assists, with no racing line, which will make it a lot more difficult. Brutus Pasicipor is up to P9 for the Visa Carb. Visa Carb in the title charge for the overall constructors for both Div 1 and Div 2 combined. At the moment, they've got a 45-point gap on McLaren. And McLaren's only representative is constructors' points for Richie Porres, which is half points. Jack Daniels still with Benedict. He needs to choose his moment wisely when he's going to make his move. Try and put pressure on the Red Bull. It'll be the first time the Red Bull of the elite drivers finish on the main Div 1 podium. Should be a fantastic drive. And would surely cement his elite tier win. I'd have to get Mr. Terry Reds to work out the points, but I think it'll still be mathematically but a low probability that he'd lose out. He'd have to not score any points and others get pretty maximum. Kieran Trippier getting kicked in the face. Confirmation from Mr. Terry Reds that Benedict, if it stays like this, will win the Elite Championship and get promoted up to the Platinum for next season. Well, I don't know, actually I believe he's not racing next season, but will get considered. Hot Step has called it a day, retiring in the pits. Thank you for doing so, my friend, and thank you for joining us. Just not been his race this week, and that's 4 DNFs out of the 17. We've got 4 laps to go. Jackson's not quite close enough to make a move on Benedict as yet. Jax Daniels, the current Elite Championship holder, title holder, against the potential new one. Those that have not joined us before, we have the 2 divisions and they're split into 2 tiers. For Div 1 we have the Platinum tier and the Elite tier. Platinum being the top 10 drivers and the Elite being the second top 10. Each tier has a representative in each constructors team to try and balance out the constructors battle. Portuguese almost 4.5 seconds gap on Armadi now. Portuguese driver cruising through the dust of Qatar. Alpine missing out on points then with both Martin Silver and Capsock car. Hot Stepper rooting for Benedict. I think even as it stands, if he's finishing ahead of Michael and Capsock, the championship will be his. If he crashes out, then there will be potential. Agreeing that Portuguese is rapid. He is. Especially the likes of Daniel and Callum not here. Amadi just not able to keep up with him on this circuit. Amadi's a rapid driver too, but there's some tracks where he just can't match the speed of the likes of Portuguese. And Portuguese doing the Leicester first and looking like it could be successful. Hash drivers exchange positions again. Katami's back ahead of his teammate. These two having a good inter-team battle. But the Katami's Wesker Div 2. Wesker will get another notch in his belt of bragging rights over Katami's. Both, of course, went down to the wire for the Div 2 championship. The Katami's came out on top. Both just find their feet in Div 1, but Wesker doing the well-deserved P7 at the moment. Brutus just on his own at the moment, struggling to close the gap on Benja. Benja has closed down on Wesker. He's got 2 laps to try and make a move on the Williams driver. He's finding it very tricky. Very, very tricky. Penultimate lap. 2 laps to go. Amadi with 9-second gap. 1.5 between Amadi and Benedict. It could still all be to play for here. With 2 laps to go. Benedict and Jax are closing in on Amadi. So this P2 is not settled for yet. Now it is spicy. And Benedict and Jax pushing. Has something happened to Amadi? Is he just reserving, or is he's got no wing damage? Does he realise that the likes of Benedict and Jax are closing in, but they're closing in with DRS range? Is Amadi napping? Unless he's trying to give his teammate a bit of help with team play. Team play, I get it now. Amadi giving his teammate a slipstream to consolidate the P3 and podium. As they're on the final lap of the race, and what team play that is. Oh! Portuguese has gone off the track. He's lost it coming out of turn 3. That was a return to track as well, which is not allowed. We'll see what the stewards teams think about that, whether it's worthwhile or not. But a mistake there from the Williams has made this final few corners very, very tasty. Under 2 seconds, Amadi behind Portuguese. Does Portuguese have any damage? He does not, but he could have some scrub tyres. As Michael has had an incident, has been hitting turn 6, which has closed the gap for Labrat as well. Everyone's just losing traction on the final lap. The final couple of corners here for Portuguese. Our team playing some wonderful team game. I wondered what happened, but I should have known. The Portuguese comes down the final corner, crosses the line, and wins in Qatar with a fine performance all about the final lap. Amadi takes home P2. Double podium for the Red Bull team. Comes home P3 Benedict, and congratulations for the Elite Championship. Brilliant season. Jax Daniels coming home P3 in the Platinum Championship, but P4 overall. Michael, podium for the Elite, P5 with Labra all over his gearbox. He'll take that final podium position in the Elite. Wesker coming home P7. Will he get jumped? I don't know. Wesker 7. Benja P8. Fine performance from the Div 2 driver. Brutus coming home P9. Itchy Porres, Mexican, coming home P10. Katami's and Adamako having a weave. They could be on the top of a black woman's head. They're weaving that much. And it got extra spicy that final couple of laps. Had me all in a tiz. The Portuguese crosses the line, takes the race win, and he's got the full sweep. Fastest lap winner, driver of the day, and overtakes. Starting from the back, he's definitely going to be up there in consideration for driver of the day. So as I said, takes the race win and fastest lap with a 21.7. Amadi coming home P2 after taking pole, and Benedict's getting a double Red Bull and the Elite Championship in tow. Big congratulations to Benedict for his first title in Lights Out Lead Racing, and takes P1 in the Elite as well. Jack Daniels coming home P3 in the Platinum, with Michael Labrat taking the final podium positions in the Elite. Wesker P7, Benja P8, P9 for Brutus, and round of top 10 is Itchy Porres. Katami's 11th, 12th for Adamaco. Capslock's car was invisible for most of the race, with Hot Stepper Dan, Keyser, Martin Silva all not finishing the race. Jack Daniels hating team games, but it is what it is. Look to try and take Benedict. So those that want to carry on and see the Div 2 race following this in about 15 minutes time, join us back on. The stream will be reactivated. If you want to see the Div 1 boys again, we're back in 2 weeks. We're missing next week. Unfortunately, I can't do it. So 2 weeks for the final race of the season, where I think constructors will still be to play for, as we've had championships, the driver championships decided this week. Big congratulations to Callum, big congratulations to Benedict. Let's see what will happen in the Div 2 race. See you there very shortly. My name's Alex. Peace out.